How to justify that they are animals? The corals are such, which are, anyway, later on it will come, but let me tell it here also, that they are the representative of the phylum Cnidaria, where basically there are two life form in the entire representatives of the Cnidaria. One is polyp form and another is medusoid form. And in case of corals, they are polyforms. So in the diagram, you can see on the top diagram, there are some flower-like structures are seen. They are the polyps. That is, the corals are actually animal. They remain attached always to some substratum. However, here the word is seafloor, but I make it little more elaborate, that they remain attached to substratum. They are truly the builders of the reef. That is why they are very, very significant, very important. Probably I can say that today, whatever landmass we see and whatever landmass we explore and enjoy, more than 80% landmass is developed over the years by these corals only. Since millions of years, it is happening about uh, at least 350 million years, that the soil and land and everything is under process of formation and all that. For that, the main organism is coral. They are actually individually single animal, but they never remain as a single. They form a structure which is known as a colony. So there is a colony of polyps which is known as a coral. And these coral polyps are looking like a flowers. You can see in the picture. Now going to its taxonomic position, they represent phylum Cnidaria, where there are few classes. Out of that, Anthozoa is the class which covers the polyps, or rather polypoid organisms, and which covers the corals. In under this particular one, the different groups are there, and amongst different groups, two are main. However, it is not written here. Let me see in the next slide. No, over. Okay, I'll explain here. There are two. One is Hexacorelia and another is Octacorelia. The hexacorallians are the different type of zoanthids or corals, and these corals are represented as scleractinia. They are the hard corals, scleractinia, and Octacorallia are Alcyonarians. They are known as soft coral. We should not much worry about soft coral because reef building corals are hard corals. Coral polyps are invertebrate that secrete calcium carbonate to form limestone skeleton and are the living part of the coral. From their integument, there is some secretion continuously coming out from the dermis, and that in the presence of the marine water, that is salt water, it gets crystallized, and around their body the calcium carbonate layer is generated, and this is how the limestone is created. They look like upside down jellyfish because in case of medusoid organisms like jellyfish, the mouth is on the ventral side, whereas here the mouth is on the upper side or the dorsal side. They belong to a same group of jellyfish and sea anemone. Polyp absorbs the calcium from the seawater and forms the limestone. They, very importantly, work in conjunction with plant. That means in their body there are symbionts, and the symbionts are known as zooxanthellae. Zooxanthellae are the algae, different type of algae These microscopic algae is remaining in the body of the coral, and they grow into that, and they get a substratum or living space, and in return they provide partly the nutrition to the coral polyps. So this is a best example of symbiosis, interrelationship between organisms, plant and animal. In a process, this is called as symbiosis, and they produce energy. That means zooxanthellae produce the energy, and coral gives the substratum for living and reproduction to that algae. Zooxanthellae are unicellular algae, and their symbiotic relationship remains with the polyp. Mutually, both are beneficial. That means it's a type of mutualization where both are at benefit. The polyp in a little high power, let us try to see. I hope that you people are able to see the picture. There are some tentacles. These are actually the whole polyps. You can see the tubular structure. These tubular structures are the polyp, and in the polyp, the outside on the top, the cursor, if you can see, I am roaming the cursor on the left side. The button shaped things are there. They are known as their mouth or their manubrium, and around their manubrium, the tentacles are present. So mouth is in the form of an oral disc or a manubrium and is surrounded by these tentacles. Polyp is having a long elongated column-like structure, and it remains inside the skeleton, and in bottom with the basal disc, which is labeled here, the basal disc, they remain attached with the substratum. So these organisms are polypoid organism, number one. They are singular technically organism, that means solitary nahi, but singular animal by their life cycle point of view. But they do not remain as a solitary, they form a colony, so they are colonial animal, and also they always remain attached to some substratum. That is why they are sedentary animal. Polypoid, sedentary, colonial animal are representative of Cnidaria. This is the structure of the body. The body is technically divisible into two parts. One is ectoderm, another is endoderm. And between ectoderm and endoderm, there is a space. And this space is filled by jelly-like material, which is known as mesoglea. So this one is diploblastic animal. I'm trying to take a very prominent component of a very basic zoology also, so that you are literally getting refreshed. These are the things which are very much important. So the body is divisible into two parts. One is ectoderm, another is endoderm, and in between this endodermal component where my cursor is moving and the ectodermal membrane where my cursor is moving right now, you have space, and the space is filled by mesoglea. That means these animals are diploblastic animal, and they do not possess any coelom or any cavity. But the cavity is there. That cavity is the endodermal cavity, which is lined over here. Tubular endodermal cavity is there. This is known as coelentron. In case of this group of animals, in case of these type of animals, it is known as coelentron. And the top of the coelentron is the mouth. So my cursor is at mouth. Mouth is also having a technical term known as manubrium. And this mouth is having a discoidal shaped and surrounded by the tentacles. These tentacles are arranged in a radial symmetry. The entire this body is a radially symmetrical body. So our body is bilaterally symmetrical. In case of animal kingdom, we see different type of symmetry, three major. One is bilateral, which is seen in major number of organisms. Second is radial symmetry, like what you see in the case of Cnidaria, as well as in the case of Echinodermata also. And third one is asymmetrical, which is always a secondary development of symmetry in the case of gastropods. But this is just for knowledge. The tentacles are present. These tentacles are surrounding the mouth and are having presence of a specific special type of cells. The cells are known as nematocyst. These nematocysts are having one spine-like structure in their body, in their structure rather, a cellular structure, and they are filled with a specific type of chemical. So when we touch to this organism of Cnidaria, irrespective of coral or otherwise, we may get the sting from this nematocyst. Sometimes the whole nematocyst are casted on our body, or sometimes there may be a sting, and this carries hypnotoxic material, a toxin which is hypnotoxic, and gradually sedation starts. First is the hypersensitivity will be resulting, so that the area where there is a interaction with the nematocyst becomes red, and burning sensation starts, itching and burning, and then later on it will be, if it is more in effect or prominent, then gradually it will create a problem of dizziness and unconsciousness. So it is effect, probably dealing with these type of animals unknowingly creates problems. So if you are taking your students to field tour, study tour, going to a coastal region, moving in a open sea area, that is the littoral zone, and if you see the corals or the sea anemone or the zoanthids, please don't you or your friends allow to touch to them directly, because it can create problem. And if you are at the place where the water is coming, that is the tidal currents are there, at that time with the tidal current there are some organisms known as Physalia. आपने कभी सुना होगा Portuguese man of war. Physalia, Porpita, Vallela, such animals are of same phylum, are floating and coming, and if you are subjected to that, then also there is lot of problem. Your body will have ache, body will have itching, body will have burning sensation because of this casting of nematocyst. When I'm explaining this, I am sitting in my office, and one of my student is also sitting here. She is actually smiling because she is recollecting her problem. Once we were in the field and she faced this problem. So this is what I am sharing, is the experience with you people. Administration should keep silent.
ಹುಡುಗಿ ಫುಲ್ ಹೆಸರು ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ ಇಸ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ, ಚಲನೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡ್ರಿ, ಚಲನೆ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡ್ರಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕೊಡಿದ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಆಕಿಗೆ. ಮತ್ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಇಲ್ದಿರ ಮತ್ತೊಂದ್ 1,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ವೇಸ್ಟ್.
I can see Marathi, I can listen Marathi language. Who is there? Or maybe South Indian.
ಅಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ,
It was not Gujarati.
ಇಮೇಜ್ ಕೊಡ್ಸಕ್ ಹೇಳ್ರಿ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಇಯರ್ PUC ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಫುಲ್ ಫೋಟೋ ತಗೊಳಕ್ ಹೇಳ್ರಿ, ಕಳಿಸಕ್ ಹೇಳ್ರಿ.
Syed Firozji, please switch off your mic. Syed Firozji, please switch off your mic. Thank you.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You can continue, please.
Yeah, please.
એટલે આપણાથી બી મ્યુટ થાય છે, એટલે હું એ જ કરું છું.
No થાય ને, હું પેલો નથી, હોસ્ટ નથી. I'm not the host. So fine, I am back with this. I tried to give you a very good information on the coral polyp. Corals are marine organism from the class Anthozoa and exist as a small sea anemone like polyp, typically in colony of many identical individual. The group includes the important rift builder that are found in the tropical oceans, which secretes calcium carbonate to form a hard skeleton. Yeah, this is one thing you should keep in mind, that the coral reefs are dominated in the tropical region. Although the corals can catch small fish and animals as such plankton using the stinging cells on their tentacles, these animals obtain most of their nutrients from photosynthetic unicellular algae called zooxanthellae, which are symbiont with them. Consequently, most coral depends on sunlight and grow in clear and shallow water, typically up to the depth of 60 meter maximum. Coral formation vary widely from branching tree, large domes, and small layers or organ pipe formation. They are also vary in colors, shape, and depending on the variety of the environment. Flatter corals tend to form where there are strong waves, whereas branch core patterns are more common in sheltered areas. I'll give you the example, like in some part of Gulf of Kutch, we have the turbulence, severe turbulence, as well as the wave currents. There we get flatter corals, but going to Mannar or otherwise in Mauritius mainly, you get more of branched corals. Coral polyps have clear body and the skeleton are white. Technically they are white, but looks like different colors because of the presence of zooxanthellae. See this picture, it is more informative. What I said is, what are the different growth forms of corals? Corals are seen mostly as a branching, this type of the, I'm reading the words also so you can understand. Second, there can be a massive one. The third one is can be foliaceous and forming a whorls. There are there, like Platygaria is one of the coral. Then there can be columnar available. There can be solitary free living like Fungia. There are laminar formations also, variety of Platygaria only, and there can be encrusting also, that is on some substratum, rocks and all that, or some submarine material available. On that also they grow. So this is the slide which is giving you the idea of main basic coral forms. Now I'm going to explain them in detail, like type of corals. So we have different type of corals based on their appearance, their reef building activity. They are known as, number one, very important, is a hard coral. Hard corals are most often referred as corals only containing hard calcium carbonate. So normally in public, if we say, and in societal role, the common word coral stands for this hard coral only. There are variety of corals and other similar type of organisms, but normally they do not call as corals by laymen or this public. They are also referred to as stony corals because they secrete the calcium carbonate. They are the member of Sclerectinia. Then another type is though hard coral, but appearance point of view, massive coral. The massive corals are characteristically ball or rock shaped and relatively slow growing. They have very stable profile. Massive corals are relatively undamaged by strong wave action unless they are dislodged from their holdfast. So wherever there is turbulence and wave currents, the wave currents and turbulence is getting subsides only where there are massive corals. So on the apex or outer ridge of this type of physical problems, massive corals development takes place. Another is branching corals. Branching corals are characterized by having numerous branches, usually with secondary branch. They are attractive, colorful, fragile, and it's highly useful as ornamental purpose. We do not have much more of branching coral in Saurashtra region or our Gulf of Kutch region, but those friends who are from South India and Tamil Nadu mainly, they are probably knowing about these, because in Gulf of Mannar we do have Acropora is the genus, variety of Acropora corals, and nearly 70 plus percent plus area is of branching corals in Mauritius. The entire Mauritius island and Maldives islands are surrounded by these branching corals. And if you are in any of that nation, then you can enjoy the last word, that is ornamental purpose. You can dislodge them, you can take out them, you can collect them, you can purchase them, anything can happen, and you can keep it as a decorative material in home. But comes to India, as per the Indian Wildlife Act, Schedule 1, we cannot touch to coral for any reason like this. We cannot dislodge, we cannot break, we cannot bring coral. And that is why, even though my 4 students have done their PhD on corals, but everything on photographic documentation or related peripheral work, or otherwise through remote sensing. But we have not taken out the coral specimen. According to biodiversity rules and according to the wildlife rules, this is not permitted. So, one of the things which I could not do, I can say that because I'm in the last year of my job, so I could not do, that is of the doing something on corals in situ. I have done, but not in laboratory. And some molecular structure and all that, which is one of the interest, I could not do. Then there is a table corals. Corals that form a broad horizontal surface are commonly known as table corals. They resemble that of a table. The size of this table coral may vary from a small rounded shaped plate to a large round shaped table. We do have this type of this. Platygaria is one of the variety. We have got this. The cup corals resemble exactly like the cups. The size may vary from small cup to a large cup, and they are locally called as vetai in the Tamil Nadu, not in Gujarat. And the 6th variety, which is I am explaining, is the soft coral. Here there is one thing, that soft corals, for interest we take it into account, but when it comes to formation of reef, they have no role to play, and also they are very fragile, and they do not fall with a common public knowledge category of corals. So soft corals are dominant element of the reef environment, normally in the subtidal area. Soft corals are much more seen in the case where there is a good continental shelf of subtidal area. Very good, very good. Soft corals are dominant element of the reef environment, providing all sorts of shapes and colors ranging from red and yellow to orange and purple. They resemble like that of the sponge. In shape, they are looking like a sponge. They contain minute spiny skeletal elements which are known as sclerites. These are used for further technical understanding and classification of this particular group. Thus, they are not reef building corals and do not lay new foundation for the future corals. Soft corals are found worldwide in the reef environment. This near surface depth allow them the presence, and that I say that they manage the food and oxygen. If that is sufficient, they can survive into that. I thought to show you some picture. The first picture which you see, however, no more detail I have included regarding coral further, but let me tell you, it is there, but in some different way. Coming to Gujarat, we have got up till now recorded 45 different species of corals. Out of that, few of these are studied by my team and my students. The first one is Favia or Favites. It is genus is Favites. Second is Porites. This Porites is found wherever there is any coral-like structure, and wherever there is a possibility of development of coral, you will find Porites. However, the Porites, two varieties are shown here. On top it is Porites lichen, and in bottom it is Porites lutea. But there are some other varieties of Porites also, and lichen is comparatively less in our area. And then Goniopora is another one, which is just looking like a, lot of small flowers together, just like a big inflorescence. That is Goniopora. Then, as I already told, that there is something like plate-like, a Symphylia is a plate-like one. There is another Porites variety is also here. You can see in irregular shape. Potatoes का ball में रखा हो ऐसा दिख रहा है. That is Porites compressa. Then Favites again different variety, and very important one which is encrusting coral and much more seen in our area is the Sidestria. And I thought that let me show you some picture of diversity of soft corals also. Soft corals are Dendrophyta, is one coral variety. There is another variety which is known as Renilla. Then this one which is commonly known. The next one you can see the sea pan. There is a word written sea pan. Sea pan is animal. This is having a different type of sclerites in their body, but they are soft in nature, just like sponge. So they are known as Pennatula or sea pen. And in bottom there are two pictures. Both of them are of sea fan, F-A-N. Sea fan, they are known as Gorgonia. Both of them are Gorgonia varieties. There are several varieties, and we are lucky to see the colors also. There is a whitish tending to purple is one variety of Gorgonia rather, and another is a red color Gorgonia. And in course of going and observing this type of environment, mainly subtidal area, or maybe up to the depth of 20-30 meters, if you are taking an adventurous sport or activity of scuba diving or snorkeling, which are, I believe that are mandatory for a marine scientist. If you do this, then you will be able to see what is now present on screen. You can see such type of corals and quite a large variety, especially in Lakshadweep, in Andaman. They are in our island area. It is tremendous. Varieties are there. Such very good colors you can see and enjoy. If you go to Andaman or if you go to Lakshadweep, it is one type of exercise possible, which you can do by paying some nominal fee of 300 to 400 rupees. And then this is one plate which is I am happy to share with you that in Gujarat we have some other groups are also working, like government agency Gujarat Ecology Commission is working extensively on this coral and coral reef area and all that. Simultaneously, there is Gujarat Ecology and Education Research Institute is there, Gir Foundation. They are working. So they have documented some few new varieties also. But these new varieties also are not so great new. They are coming within that 45 to 50 varieties of the corals. So just for giving you the encouragement that this is the field which you can explore and can see the animals, can take some good photographs and study. The next part of this is the coral reef. Now this is very important component. As I already told that land what is available is because of the millions of years activity of this tiny animal. Those who have studied zoogeography or phytogeography may be well aware that there was one big Acceleration disk was the mass of land present at the origin and crystallization stage of the earth. That is, say about at least 1 billion years ago. And then gradually, because of the rotation of the earth, because of the formation of the water, because of then the current and thrust of the water and all that, gradually the fragile components started breaking up and they started getting distributed. And this is how today's continents are developed. This science is known as continental shelf development. This continental shelf is the origin of the coral reef. The coral reefs are generated like this. There were few variety of corals, ancient varieties of corals were there, and they build up the whole land on which we are enjoying today. The most coral reefs were formed after the last glacial period when the melting ice caused the sea level rise. Number one. Second, this means that most coral diversity and reef formation is in less than 10,000 years. And vast majority of islands have been formed because of the volcanic activity. So what are coral reefs? Coral polyp are one of the most productive and diverse community in the world, which has led to both their appreciation and exploitation. This area is known as a rainforest of the ocean. The corals are made up of calcium and carbonate. Already I have told, I'm not repeating again. This limestone finally forms the reef. So there are two types of corals. One is hermatotypic corals, which are reef building corals, and ahermatotypic corals, which are soft corals or non-reef building corals. And this is how diagrammatically I can give you the explanation that the reef is formed. You can see that the land is there on one apex, the other apex is sea floor. In between, there are zonations. These zonations, wherever you can see some organisms are there, these organisms are the contributor to form the coral reef. So the reef edge, you can see the miniature atoll is generated, you can see the water-filled area, you can see that is lagoon. And this type of reef flat is created, which has got outer and inner flat, and the reef is formed. This reef formed is because of the corals only. And this is how you can see in the better section that what happens, that there are mangroves near the land mass, and otherwise if you see there are reef flats areas, reef edge area, and all that you can see. This one is the one where this variety of coral develops and forms the land mass. And certainly based on the structure and based on the activity, there are different type of coral reefs. So the first reef is known as fringing reef, which is comparatively very common. A fringing reef runs directly along the line of coast and extend out from the land into tropical seas. They are commonly found in the South Pacific, Hawaiian Island, and Caribbean island, and also partly India. There is another variety which is known as a barrier reef. A barrier reef is separated from the mainland or the island by a wide lagoon and occurs further offshore than a fringing reef. Such a type of reef is very common in Caribbean area, Indo-Pacific area, and very well known Great Barrier Reef of Australia. We know that in Australia there is a very big area which is known as the Great Barrier Reef. And here the reef forms are of landmass which is synced, and on that the development is taken place, and outer part of this such type of condition is created with the fringing reef. These are the diagrammatic representation of both. What do you mean by fringing reef? What do you mean by barrier reef? And what do you mean by the third? There are few others which are coming, but here there are two mentioned. One is patchy reef and another is atoll reef. The description is followed now. So the third variety is known as atoll reef. An atoll reef has a circular formation of continuous reef which surrounds a lagoon without a central island. Such a type of case when develops, they usually form when island surrounds by a fringing reef sink into the sea or when the sea level rise around them. These islands are often the top of underwater volcanoes. This type of atoll are found in Indo-Pacific region, and the largest one is found with the lagoon is of 60 mile. Biggest lagoon is of that type, which is in Indo-Pacific region. And our Lakshadweep area is having some atoll reef. Then there is one reef which is known as apron reef. An apron reef is like fringing reef but has a gentle slope out and downward from the origin point. This type of the thing, when it looks like a worn apron, that is a apron reef. The fifth one is a patchy reef or a patch reef. This patch reef is often isolated and in the circular shape and usually within the lagoon or a bay. They are common in the area between fringing reef and a barrier reef and rarely reaches to the surface of the water. But still, partly in the the full moon tide and all that, if water is receding fast, we may be able to see the patchy reef, and few patch or patchy reef are present in our area, that is in Mannar as well as in Gulf of Cambay, or rather Gulf of Kutch. Then there is a ribbon reef. A ribbon reef is a long and narrow reef usually associated with the lagoon of atoll. The seventh one is a table reef. Table reef is similar to the shape of atoll but without central lagoon. So something like that Pretigaria I repeatedly told as a type of coral, they form a table coral shape. Such a type of big area developed once, then that is known as a table reef. So this is a slide giving you the idea of where do we have the coral reefs. Very importantly, if you see, then the coral reefs are between 40° north latitude to 40° south latitude. Within this belt only, we have plenty of variety of coral reefs are present. Like, if I start the cursor, this is the West Indian area, the Caribbean Sea area. Then there are some islands and all that in Pacific. Then this is Australia area where fringing reef and the barrier reef, and these are the Indonesian area. Coming to India, we have in India the Mannar and Gulf of Kutch, and on the western coast of India there are some patchy, but on eastern coast we do not have at all, no type of reef. Then this is the this particularly the Maldives, Seychelles, and the Mauritius area, and then this is the very important Madagascar and Africa area, and also in Saudi Arabia zone where there is a sea approaches there. But coming to Mediterranean Sea or a north and south poles, you do not get any of the reefs. So these are the coral reef hotspot around the world. There are we are using the word hotspot. There is a reason, because these are very essential, very important area. Gradually they are under the development. Gradually they are in the formation of this, and if this stops because of our activity and all that, it is going to create a big problem. So this is something description of that which I have already told. The coral reef distribution in India. India has 4 major reef ecosystem, having all 3 reef type like fringing, atoll, and barrier. Totally 2,375 square kilometer area is under reef, and really they are found attached to the mainland. 2 major part. One is Gulf of Kutch in Gujarat and Gulf of Mannar in Tamil Nadu. And other 2 sections are in the Bay of Bengal, South Bay of Bengal, and the Indian Ocean rather. Major you can consider as the Indian Ocean area is the Andaman Nicobar Islands, which is Island Reef, Barrier Reef, and the Lakshadweep on the western side of India is the reef of atoll reef type in the Arabian Sea. These are the 4 prominent places. In diagram you can see on map also. And also very importantly, when I said that along with this particular component of west coast, Mumbai, South Mumbai, Malvan area, those member who are from that area would appreciate to understand the Malvan, the Goa, and the part of the Karnataka is also sorry, is also having the reef. And same way, if I talk about recent development of in last 15-20 years, then the Savarasht patch is also having the presence of some reef. Coral reefs of Gujarat. Gujarat is basically a maritime sector endowed with 1,600 kilometer long coastline. But I don't want to go into that merits. Only thing that Gujarat has got Gulf of Kutch, Saurashtra coast, and partly South Gujarat area, where we have presence of reef or presence of corals. Gulf of Kutch is a luxurious area of corals. Saurashtra coast, we do have patchy reefs, and in South Gujarat coast, we do not have much more of hard coral, but yes, some of the area in the Valsad district is having a good growth of the soft corals. This is what is you can see on the screen. What is marked over here is this Gulf of Kutch is a very, very, very important area. Probably the northest site of a live coral and also coral dynamic continued area on globe entire is the Gulf of Kutch. So we are really very lucky to have such a type of structure in Gujarat. The geomorphology of Gujarat or Gulf of Kutch is more favorable for corals. The reef development is continuous because there is an inflow of nutrients and influx of more water from the Indus zone is continuously coming into that. And the warmer current of Somalia is also supporting to have a good upwelling of bottom material, which also supports the nutrients, and therefore the Gulf of Kutch is a luxurious area for the variety of corals and coral reefs. The Gulf of Kutch is furthermore is having a very good, coastal characteristics like mangroves, creeks, mud flats, islands, rocky shore, sandy shore, etc. Everything is in favor of a very good biodiversity of flora and fauna on one side, and another support the best coral reef. So this is that coralline area of Gujarat, exactly. You can see the Gulf of Kutch, especially in Gulf of Kutch, very importantly is that southern patch of Gulf of Kutch, right from the Jamnagar district entire to present day Devbhoomi Dwarka district, the entire one is covered by variety of islands, variety of flats of the coral patches. Lot of them are there, and lot of them are open for excursions and studies also. We can certainly wear, and understanding the necessity of sustaining this in a proper manner since so many years. I think right from 1982 and from 1986 firmly we have a big resolution on the Gulf of Kutch in favor of a purely first marine protected area of India. So that's a fully protected one. It is having a national park and sanctuary both, and that is how it is under strict regulations. About small and big, if you consider, then there are 42 islands, out of which Perutan Island is the best. Another is Kalubhar Island. Then there are some small islands like Boria and Chank and all that. And as well as there is one big island which is inhabited by the population, public, is known as Ajad Island. This Ajad Island and all these islands are having a fringing reef around them, and that is to be maintained and sustained through legislation. It is going on. This type of the GOK, if you try to understand, then shoreline area with a broad inner flat, the coral reef are recorded after around 2 kilometers of mainland, and that forms a big area. A Gujarati word is used for the island that is known as a bat. Though it is not discontinued, disjunctioned island, but it is in form of island in the form of development and attached to the mainland is known as Narara Island or Narara Bet, which is very common, a very interesting area to be explored. Another is where the shore with a broad channel with the inner flat and coral reef are recorded after 2 kilometers of the mainland are Dhani, Munde Bet. Such type of the areas are there in northern or rather western Gulf of Kutch, where the navigation is possible, where the fisheries is also possible. Then another coral reef dynamic condition is where the shore is big and that is bounded by the mud or the sand and rocky conditions. That is known as a Positra Island. Then Okha and Adatra. These are the these are the one which are reef edge area, and they are also coral reef. This type is interesting because corals are found on a supra-ritolar zone, that is within our reach. Once the tide is receding, immediately when you reach there, if you see the corals and the luxuriant corals, then such area is the Positra, Okha and Adatra. Then there are some typical type of islands also present which are fully submerged in high tide and remains exposed in low tide, like few of them are having a reef flat also, and some minor lagoon like structures are also developed. Such a type of islands are Lagamundri, Manamundri, Dabsasa, all are Dabdaba like of islands are there, and also further where there is a muddy island or mud formation is much more, vegetation is also much more, that type of area are known as Boru and Chank and all that. These are found in Poshitra Bay or otherwise can be considered as a in the outer edges of the Gulf of Kutch. And the last one variety, I think it should be last one, yes, is the patchy fringing reef forming over the island or around the island, and this type of the submerged islands are also there, and these forms in the Kutch they are limited, but in Indian Ocean in Red Sea and in some other area they are prominent. By and large, coming to the variety of corals, in the Red Sea there are 64 genera. In the the Maldives and all that, there are about 24 genera. Rather, in the GOK southern region there are prominent 24 genera, and in Maldives there are 75 genera. So lot of genetic variety is present. Switching over to some other component, like why the coral reefs are important. They are truly important. They are home for 32% of the known fish species. They are the nursing ground. They are the breeding ground for most of all the marine fishes and marine organisms. The coral reef are important because we can generate income out of that, not directly. Previously, it was happening that the corals were uprooted and used for the cement purpose, but now it is banned. So directly, I would not use this word of income, but otherwise, it's a good food chain component. So food purpose, it is there. It is good for ecotourism. This is in particular area like in Narara and in Okha and such area, we have very good development of ecotourism. Like in Dwarka, near Dwarka, there is a place where you can have the good tourism related to coral. You can observe the corals, you can have a coral trail also, and you can get lot of information on these. There is a medical purpose also, that coral, even though we in India we do not uproot or take out the material, but legislatively after taking permission we can certainly do that. So there are a lot of bioactive compounds are released from these, which are used for the treatment of the cancer and heart disease and HIV, etc. Some of the students have taken this activity. One of my students has also done this activity, but there we have not touched to coral, but coral alike some organisms are there, which are known as zoanthid, and there we have been able to document these. The healthy environment of the coral reef is having a good sunlight, good water circulation, a low in nutrient condition, and a clear water, and water temperature is somewhere between 18 to 29 degrees Celsius, and a certain salinity, normally about 35 parts per thousand if it is there. Then it is a healthy environment. Number of studies are done on this coral reef: taxonomy, ecology, status of live corals, abiotic and biotic threats prevailing to that, geology, geomorphology, sea level chronology, transportation and coral colony study. Everything is there. And nowadays, two of the major components which are salient component of research and development and study is anthropogenic pressure and climate change. But one thing I would like to tell here, that this is a very, very, very good carbon storage source. Probably the best carbon sequestration and carbon storage condition happens in this coral reef area only. So how the coral reef is developed, I'm not repeating that GIF, but what we did, one of my students did that. We went to a different coral reef of Gulf of Kutch. We drilled the material, and this drilled material was taken to the Lucknow, where there is one institute where geomorphology and everything is studied in detail, where we understood the aeration mechanism of the particular reef, and understanding that, we were able to find out the fossils of corals, we were able to find out the stratigraphy of the coral reef entire of our area, and we were able to correlate through carbon dating and potassium argon dating and all that we have done, and with that we were able to date the coral reef of Gujarat. We did sampling like this over there. The generators and GPS and all these things were taken. The core was taken, and core material was taken to Lucknow, and there it was studied. In the laboratory, it was morphometry and morphology and the material, from different strata, has been taken out and studied as a simple and subsamples, and we were able to find out through carbon dating that in some of the area, the coral reef of this particular zone is approximately 6,000 years old. You can see on screen there is a graph which deals about this. We have given the code to the core which we have taken and understood, and other side the age is written. That age you can understand that about 60,000 years we have been able to see that the reef is developing in our area. And looking into the way it has progressed into Gulf of Kutch, then it is very interesting that the trend of the progression was west to east. That means on the outer part of the Gulf of Kutch, there was a development, onset of the development of the coral reef, and then gradually it has extended eastward towards the end of the Gulf of Kutch. And how the acceleration has taken place about 4,000 to 5,000 years, how it has taken place, that you can see. In the geology, if you are little aware, in this last 1,000 years period, in the Holocene, lot of varieties have taken place. A variety of this particular corals have developed, and also when we did this exercise, we found out the lot of foraminiferans and all that also, which were having a direct relationship with understanding the age. So relative age conditions can be identified. That also has supported us to conclude that this is the age of the coral reef in our area. Man-made threats are tremendous, too many. One of the most important is coral bleaching. My students have studied and are working on this. We are presently working with an approach of remote sensing, satellite technology also, to document global warming effect and coral bleaching effect. And we are going ahead with finding out some type of index which will certainly help in future to understand the developmental aspect of such a type of problem of bleaching. Bleaching can be attributed to chemical runoff, can be attributed to temperature, anomalies in the salinity, and one of the very important component is the sedimentation, because the sedimentation finally fine particles deposits on the polyp, and then because of that either polyp dies, or because polyp gets suffocated, the algae are expelled out, and that leads to the coral bleaching. Human impact is tremendous. If the current status of human impact happening negatively is continued, then by 2030, that is, I'm giving you 10 more years, don't worry, 60% of the natural coral reefs will be vanished. And that is why coral reef and coral related study is taken up by NOAA also, by NASA also, from American side, to all satellite application, to ground level application in all the nations everywhere. And a very, very critical level of exercise are going on to combat with this problem. The threats are very clear. The fish line threat, that means when we would like to make a fishing, then we lay the nets, and these nets get entangled. And when you are trying to take out the nets, you uproot the fragile component of the corals which are developed. There are some thorn, sea stars and all that, which are developed, and they are establishing on the coral. Similarly, zoanthids are the another organism which establishes on coral, and then gradually they suffocate and reduces the coral growth and overcome or rather overmount the corals, and becomes the luxury of the formation of the zoanthids carpets onto that. Same way, coral disease are there, several diseases are there. Some of them very common are white patch, white band, black band disease and all that. I do not want to enter into that much, but these diseases are the one which are either impacting on the coral polyps and they are getting problem and mortality rate increases, or their presence is creating problem by acidification creation, and due to that the coral, which is basically a calcium carbonate material, gets impacted with that acidification and they get uprooted. Same way, the sedimentation overlies the coral polyp and creates a lot of problem. Several threats, like one of the most prominent threat is coral bleaching, which which took place somewhere in 1998 over the entire globe. And then there is a recovery, there is a again problem, like again 2013 or rather 2010, 13, 16. There are consequences of the bleaching. You can see the different type of bleaching and coral disease pictures, which can certainly give you the idea about how the coral is under threat through human intervention. There are several issues regarding this. They are prone to disaster because of tsunami and cyclone. There are rapid economic development on the coastal area, which is also creating a problem. Urbanization is a big pressure through population, that is also creating a problem. Risk of oil spill pollution is also there. Management of coastal water for health is a problem. Issue of erosion of shoreline is a very big problem in our area. Management of the ecological wealth in that area is also there, and conservation of coastal resources is a very big issue. According to coral bleaching account, you can see that what happened in 2010, the 19 species were under threat and they were under damage, and they were the sufferer of the coral bleaching. In 13 there were or rather in 2013 there were 13, and 2014 there were 9, and in 16 also it was there. In 2020 we are trying to see the and on one side in the graph you can see the figure, on the other side of that in the picture you can see that the coral should look like a very lush green color or blue color or purple color, very dynamic colored condition, is under stress, under threat, and because of that the white patches and white color is mounted on them. This is known as a coral bleaching. SST, sea surface temperature, is attributed in understanding this particular component in detail. Even though there is a marginal change of 2 degrees Celsius, but has given us the idea of a very, very big problem of leading towards the coral bleaching. Sedimentation, as I said, is a big problem that is getting overlaid, and you can see in picture, there is a picture of, you can see in the Porites coral over here, in the genus Porites, you can see white patches. These white patches are because of the coral polyp dead into that and nothing is surviving. Remaining are the one which are surviving because they are, even though they are under stress, could manage. And how we can, I'll take 1 minute. How we can save this? Please don't eat more seafood. Go and visit and observe the reef and understand them so that you will understand the problem. Reduce the greenhouse gases emission. Carbon emission also much more is a problem. Use green bags and remove plastic. Plastic is a threat on ocean. And Very importantly, recycle, recycle, and recycle the material. Use that material again and again and save the threat. So with this, I am really thankful to your organizers to give me opportunity to talk to you for these 2 lectures. If you have any question, you are most welcome.
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
I'm
please.
Dr. Upendra Ghosh from West Bengal. I have one
Yeah.
question.
Yes.
Can you please tell me that what are that you told that there are certain conditions, physical conditions under which leaf grows, but yeah, are those factors very stringent or there are some exceptions? This is my first question, and my second question is. What happens when coral bleaches? Does this bleaching indicates their erosion of their surfaces or what? Sir, please.
Okay, coming to your first question, the reef development is very, very specific under the condition where there are best coral life sustained. Then only reef formation is possible, and physical factors like temperature, water mass movement, tsunami and sedimentation are the threat to this particular development of reef. And you are, as you said that you are from Bengal, you know that in your area, because of the delta of Ganges and Brahmaputra and all that, this particular area up to, coming down to Tamil Nadu, it is more turbid, more sedimented, and because of that, we do not see the reef. What we see the reef under the development of reef is only at the Andaman level and not in otherwise. That is one. And coming to your second question, bleaching. Yeah, bleaching is something which is a dynamic process. I do not say that, or rather, I don't want to say that the bleaching is the death of coral. No, bleaching is a stress to coral. How much bleaching is under the condition and how much stress is there, based on that we will be able to decide the health of the coral reef and the coral in particular. But if the bleaching is reduced, if the threat is reduced, rather, if the threat is reduced, if the management is there, then there is a possibility of the coral surviving and reviving again. So there are 2 mechanisms. One is that they take their own time, and sometimes if the environmental conditions are restored well and fast, then they regain their normal conditions faster. This is what is happening.
Okay,
So
thank you, sir.
by the end product of bleaching is not the death of coral. It is expulsion of the algae, and algae go back to coral without any problem if normalcy is there. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, can you please tell about the temperature fluctuation and effect of sedimentation and the effect of temperature fluctuation in the health of the coral reef, please?
Fine. See, the temperature fluctuation at a local level is creating a lot of problem. Ambient temperature, which is then in with the surface water interactions, and sea surface temperature rises comparatively more than 2 degrees Celsius, then it is a threat. What happens that under that, the temperature is a dynamic one. So when there is a summer, naturally the temperature will be little more. But during that period, this coral will have also the acclimatization condition. But other than that phase, if the temperature abruptly rises, then coral will start expelling the algae. That is the first thing going to happen. So that is why temperature is certainly a threat. The another way, the sedimentation, what we have discussed. See, the particulate matter which is floating in the water, and in this itself, the picture, if you see, some part of the water, it is already on your screen. Some part of the water, if you try to see, it is hazy. This haziness is because of the particulate matter which is floating there, and gradually that settled down. That is because of the damage to the coastal reef area or shore area, and that is those particles are settling on coral polyp. And once they settle on coral polyp, if the manubrium is closed or the tentacles are closed, then their feeding mechanism is hampered. And under the threat of feeding mechanism, and also because of the light penetration is again a problem, because the sedimentation rate, then the photosynthesis activity of the algae is also in a problem, and all this cumulatively damages, and the problem of bleaching is arising in all the areas. In coming to Gulf of Kutch, this is, we consider little more threat, because we have an Indus flow which is brought there. Even though we do not have much more big river, but still Indus flow itself is a problem. There is a big turbulence in the Gulf of Kutch, which is also creating a problem of carrying sediments to this southern area. If it is taking it out, it would be best. But unfortunately, the Indus flow and the sediments are brought and getting settled in the southern area where we have the coral reefs. And also the northernmost area of the globe. So naturally in the tropical, and that too apex of the tropical, we are facing the problem of temperature also. So these are the things cumulatively creating problem to the health of Gulf of Kutch reef.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful presentation. I have a question, and before going with the question, let me introduce myself. My name is Syed Firoz Ahmed, working as assistant professor and head of the Department of Botany in Nehru Degree College, Hubballi, Karnataka.
Fine.
Sir, my question is, what is the effect of oil spills on coral?
Very simple. Oil spills when on corals, that it establishes these oil droplets on the body of the polyp. These minute polyps are then covered by oil. Once it is covered by oil, there can be two things. One is that they will have a respiration problem, they will have the photosynthesis is a problem, and over and above that, if the turbidity is also there, then that will entangle with the oil droplets and cover the entire polyp, and then polyp, so many colony of this presence of polyp are covered. You can, if you are able to see a cursor, I am roaming the cursor on a brown patchy component. Can you see the cursor moving here, white?
It's visible, sir.
Yeah. So on this, if the oil spill is there, then all this great good polyp will be covered by oil, number one, and then subsequently with the sediment entangled with the oil. So there won't be any possibility of respiration for this, and also photosynthesis. Both are the problem then later on.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All dear participants, we have too much time for that, and after the completion of the lectures, so mostly I vote of thanks on behalf of HRDC and all the participants to Professor P.C. Mankodi sir, well-known anthrozooan from species to molecular biology, and all the field of the environmental science to the marine biology, and a very good human being, and ever ready for deliver his lectures and all this, mostly the research work regarding to the zoology and mainly in the environmental or marine biology subject. So today the two live lecture, online lecture given by Professor P.C. Mankodi sir. So on behalf of
કેમેસ્ટ્રી ગાંઠી તમને મળી શકે કેમેસ્ટ્રીની ફી કેટલી હોય લગભગ 9 થી 10 હજારની આસપાસ હોય અને 3 વર્ષના 30,000 ગણવાના માઇક્રોબાયોલોજી કરે તો 90,000 ગણવાના બરાબર તમારી રીતે વિચારી જો બધી રીતે જ્યાં જવું હોય ત્યાં તમે જઈ શકો. તેમાં મળેલું છે કન્ફર્મ કરાવો.
the topics regarding the presentation in a WhatsApp group. So most of the participants regarding to these different science disciplines. So I hope they got these topics, and on 14th, so you have to submit the video and the PPT presentation. So most of the science discipline subjects, we are given the presentation topics. Also some kind of this in the criteria of the HRDC refresher course. Mostly you have to this book review part and the some kind of this examination process after the completion, or maybe 2 or 3 days before. So I hope that most of the lectures and the lecture material, mostly the video is there, and we are helpful to you in the matter of this material, mostly by means of this PPT or maybe PDF. So we'll provide you, and most of the topics that we are given already in this session wise, all the lectures. So in the coming days that we have also some recorded lecture and some live lectures of the various science disciplines. So again, I am very thankful, Professor Mankodi, because in an earlier session that in the last 5 minutes in a session, the last 5-minute duration, the network problem in this in his campus, so he can't join us in this live last 5 minutes. But again, the 2 lectures, the biodiversity status, regulation and management, and now an overview of the coral reefs. So some unexplored part which explored by the, and try to explore the some subject content with the wonderful presentation. So again, on behalf of HRDC, I am very thankful to Professor Mankodi sir.
Thank you very much. It is my pleasure. Thank you very much. It is my pleasure.
Thank you. Meet you soon, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So all participants, and we some mail address to all these resource persons to you. So any kind of this interaction with them regarding to your subject or maybe any query, so try to communicate them. So thank you again, all participants. Have a good time. Good evening to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
It's a
Thank you,
pleasure.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Ganesh.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I'm leaving. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope the lecture was very informative and interesting, and even I enjoyed the lecture. I hope you may have enjoyed the lecture. So there is one another session to hear, and that is a pre-recorded lecture, and that is from Professor D.D. Jhala, and he will talk about all the effects of fluorides and its mitigation. So it is time to just start the next session. So I am just leaving the session. Thank you very much, one and all.